Greetings. I wondered if I should tell this tale, and I decided I'm going to go ahead and tell it because of the extraneous reasons and not because of what got everything rolling. About 12 days ago, actually 12 days ago, I don't know why I'm saying about, I was taking my mother to the senior center. It's called Silver Fox. It's about 10 minutes away if I take this one particular road. It's 16 or 17 if I go to other. So I decided to take the 10-minute road. It was pretty much a calm day. There was no sun. I live in central New York. It's winter, so there was no sun, but it had stopped snowing. It was actually starting to get relatively warm, but the roads were still a little slippery. But they were wet. They were not icy. So on this particular road, the speed limit is 45 miles an hour. I was around 45 miles an hour. I had just gone over a bridge and I'm heading down the street. And in the direction I'm going, there's very little traffic. Going against me is a bunch of traffic because those folks are all trying to go to work. I'm trying to get my mother to the senior center so I can go to a meeting that I had at 8:30. So I've just crossed this bridge and I'm looking ahead and I see a car coming out of one of the major side roads. And he's not really coming out. He's there, but he's inching out. He's inching out a little bit. And I'm not thinking anything of it. I see him inch out. I've seen cars do that at that spot many times. I've been here over 40 years. So I've seen that happen a lot of times. And like I said, there was a lot of traffic coming from the other side. And I knew he wanted to turn left and go with that other traffic. Next thing I know, he accelerates just as I get there. He accelerates, he hits my car. He hits the back passenger side of my car. And I go into a half spin. The back of my car, remember I said the road was slippery. The back of my car slides all over the place. I do the defensive diving thing, so I turn the wheel against that, and it kind of swings back, and then it swings again. And I'm thinking a whole bunch of things all at one time. The one thing I'm definitely thinking is we are not going to die today. And it just popped into my mind. The next thing I thought of was I didn't want to hurt anybody else. So I could see the traffic coming on the other side, and those folks had seen me get hit, so they started to slow down. Thank goodness that they started to slow down. There was nobody behind me, so that was also a lucky thing. So the car goes in, like I said, it spins one way, I get it, it goes the other way, I get it again, it spins one more time, and now I'm saying, okay, I've got to get us off the road. So I take that final spin, I don't turn it as hard, but somehow I'm able to get us off the road on the side that I should be. We end up in this kind of declining ditch, not a super big ditch, and there's a fence in front of me, and I don't hit the fence. I barely stop from the fence. I get us off the road between a street sign and a tree. Really, I mean, you just couldn't have planned that any better. I get us off the street, the car stops. It's hit a whole bunch of brush that was in that area because I live in central New York. We have plows that are always clearing stuff, and it just pushes everything off the road. And I hit a bunch of that stuff, and we stop. The engine is still running. Amazing. I have no idea what's going on. My mother is crying. She is scared. I'm not necessarily as scared because I've gotten us off the road. My first thought was, I hope nobody hits the back of my car now that I'm off the road, which didn't happen. My next thought is, okay, I've got to try to calm my mother down a little bit. But after that, I'm like, what do I do? I couldn't think of what to do. Do I call my wife? Do I call the guy who is part of the group that I'm going to be meeting for, this other thing? Do I call the place where I take mom? I'm stuck. Do I call my insurance company? Do I call AAA? This all happens probably within 10 seconds. It seemed like it took forever, but this is a fast thought. And then it hits me. Dial 911. So I call 911 and I report the accident. I tell them where I'm at. She says, do you need an ambulance? I said, well, no, I think we're okay. My mother doesn't seem to be injured. I'm not injured. She's just scared. And really, I'm thinking, you know what? We've got out of this fine. So she says the police will be there in a few minutes. Thank you. So I hang up, and the next call I make is to my wife. We've been in an accident. We're doing okay. We're down blankety blank here on 370. Is it possible you could come and maybe pick up mom and take her to the senior center? Because we had something else to do later on. So now those are the first two calls I make. The next call I make is to the guy who is part of my organization. And he says, "Are you okay? Do you need me to come over there?" And I said, "No, don't come here. Everything is fine. Police officer's going to be here. My wife's coming to get us. Everything's going to be fine." After that, this car pulls over. Just to show you how fast kind of things are going as we're going along, this guy pulls over. He was behind the guy who hit me. And he just pulled over real, to see how we were doing. The other guy drove off, hit and run. No idea who it is. Probably never going to see him, even though he left part of his bumper in the street. He didn't leave the license plate, so there's no tracking this guy down. So this guy gets out. He checks on us, say we're doing okay. Mom's a little scared. He gives us his phone number to give the cop. He says, "I saw the thing. Unfortunately, I was more worried about you than I was worried about the license plate. So I didn't get that. I saw the car, though. We'll report it." Fine. So now here comes the cop. And I explained what happened, and he could see the damage. Because I got out of the car and I looked. And on the passenger side, on the back, you could see the car was not super crushed. Luckily, he had just accelerated, so he wasn't going his fastest, but there's significant damage there. There's also significant damage in the front of my car because I hit all this brush. So that's kind of crushed in. The driver's side where the light is. The light's still shining somehow, but you can see it's crushed. I have no idea what's going on underneath, but like I said, the engine's still running, so I'm able to keep my mother warm, and that works out. So the cop comes, and we start talking, and he starts doing his thing. Now, this lady comes out of the house. I told you I missed the fence by a few inches. And it was her fence. So first he checks, "Are you guys okay?" "Yep, we're doing fine. Mom's starting to calm down. Would you like to come in the house?" "No, I think we're going to do okay. My wife's going to be coming." She says, "Thank you for not hitting my fence." Hey, I do what I can. So, cop comes. A lot of other people. There was a guy who was running who stopped and asked us a question. Someone else stopped across the street, came over to see how we were doing. People can be really nice when they see something like that. And they saw that the car was in, a bad way. Most of the people just kept going, although some people did really slow down because they wanted to check out the wreck, see what happened. I understand that. It's not something I've ever really done as a driver. As a passenger, yeah, but as a driver, if I can't see it as far away as I need to, I'm not going to be the one slowing down traffic. I'm going to make sure that I get by okay, but in general, that's not something that I do. It had to be a really bad wreck for my eyes to, lose attention to what's going on. Anyway, my wife comes, picks up Mom, takes her to the senior center. The cop is offering to give me a ride, but he's called someone to come tow my car to a place. Like I said, I'm glad that there were some other people who knew what to do because I was stuck. I really just had no idea what I should be doing. And it took a while. It took about 40 minutes. I don't know why it's such a long process, but, the cop was typing all kind of stuff in. And you know what? I was fine. The car was still running, so I could stay warm. I now know Mom is taken care of. I'm not in any pain. The cop did say, you could be in shock. That sometimes happens. I said, well, right now I'm doing good. You know what? I'll live off this. Then my wife comes back, and she picks me up, and she takes me home instead of the cop. So I get out a few things out of my car, before it's towed. Or I'd gotten some stuff out of there before it was towed. So I get the stuff out of the police car, put it in her car. We go home. So the first thing I do when I get home is I call my insurance place. And I get the lady on the phone. And after I mention what happened, everything starts going really fast. She connects me to the collision division. That's what I'm calling it. And so now I've got this lady who's talking to me for a long time. And then she transfers me to someone else who then, he says, "I'm the claims guy for your car." That's not the direct quote, but still, he's the direct quote guy, So he's the guy who's going to be tracking everything. So I get that done. I've heard that I qualify for a free car rental. I hear that Allstate, because I was asked, "Do you have a collision place?" I could not think of the name of any collision places, and I knew a couple, but I just couldn't think of anything. She said, "Well, if you go to one of ours, that we recommend, then, you don't have to do anything. Everything is done between us and them." I said, "You know what? Do that." It's one less thing I need on my mind. So everything just moves along fast. Like I said, I had some other stuff to do. I missed my meeting, but there were some folks who were going to be coming in the house to do some work, so now I got to be here at the house for that. Meanwhile, the phones start ringing. So the phone rings from the guy who Allstate has called to look at my car. He says, we will go to the other place and pick up your car, and we will pay for that, and we will bring it back to us. Thank you. That works kind of nicely. I appreciate that. The next call I get is from Enterprise. And they said, yes, we've got, this call from Allstate. We've got a couple of cars for you. You can come here to get it. And I'm thinking Enterprise is like off in one of the other, villages, whatever. It turns out Enterprise is right up the street, about 7 minutes from the house. Never even thought about it until she said that. And I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot about that Enterprise being up there. So after a while, after these people do this work at the house, then I get to go there. And I got another call who I can't even remember who it's from, but like, wow. Oh, another Allstate person regarding something else. I'm thinking, wow, this is really just moved along really well. I appreciate the insurance company for what they did. I appreciate that Enterprise called. I appreciate the guy who towed my car. I'm thinking, wow, this is a great deal. I go up to get my car, and they wanted to give me a compact. I'm not a compact car kind of guy. And I'm imagining trying to get my mother in and out of a compact car. So I upgraded for, $6 extra. Actually, it was $2.30 extra, but with taxes, it comes to $6. How does tax cost more than the cost of renting a vehicle? I don't know. Like I said, Allstate covers it up to a certain amount, and it qualified for a compact car. So I upgraded. Fine. So I'm not mad at anything that happened at that point. Like I said, physically, I felt great that day. The next day, I started having a few pains here and there, but no broken bones, just muscle aches. Because I tensed up. We were going to take charge. This is not going to happen to me. I am not going to be a statistic. No one is going to be talking about a man and his mother died when they were hit in a car and hit other cars. No, that was just my mindset at that time. We're not dying today. That's, it goes back to the old Star Trek where Captain Kirk talked about, I don't believe in a no-win scenario. Well, I don't believe that someone else is going to determine how I live and how I die, and that included being hit in a car. I don't know. It may have been, a fancy tale or a thought that I had, but that's where my mind went. But I was just amazed at how efficient everything worked. I was amazed at how nice other people were. There is nothing you can say. But I am going to say that if you're ever in a car accident and you don't know what to do, the first thing you do is dial 911. Get things started. Those folks worked out well. I've only ever called 911, twice ever. Once when the day my dad passed away, when I had to call 911 to get someone there to take him to the hospital. And the first few months after my mother came here, when it turned out she was having a heart attack, and we didn't know that. Only 2 times I ever called 911, but I'd never called them for me. Everything worked out well. And, you just have to have that belief. And I got lucky. I'm not religious, so I'm not the one who's going to say, thank God that this happened, or bless you, Jesus, because I'm not religious. I will say that I had faith that I was going to get us out of it, and I got us out of it. Now, 12 days later, we're trying to figure out what I'm going to get as far as a car. They have not totaled my car, which is very interesting because the estimate for fixing it is a whole bunch of money, but I have a fancy car. We'll see what happens after that. We'll see if I add to this story. Anyway, my name is Mitch Mitchell. I don't necessarily know if I should say I hope you enjoyed this story. I will say that I hope that maybe you can take something away with it, from it that you can use in your life. I don't know, but that's the story. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful week.